good morning everyone. I am back in Mexico after, excuse me, this might help. I am back in Mexico after a 10,000 kilometer voyage through Mexico on the BMW GS 1200. It's good to be back. 10,000 kilometers is a long time. It was a 26-day voyage, but really enjoyed it thoroughly. I do want to talk to you now and wrap up these videos about 10 problems and concerns with the motorcycle that I had through the voyage that I definitely will learn for the next time, and I wanted to share these 10 problem areas and concerns with you so that perhaps some of you can learn as well. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about are cell phones on motorcycles. Of course, we all know that we got to secure our cell phone properly on the bike, make it visible and comfortable for us. But what I discovered on the first trip, on the first day of the trip, I lost power to the cell phone. And that's a big problem, right? Because I like to have the cell phone on, the display on at 100% brightness all the time on the bike, and it allows me to use my GPS and see where I'm going. You can see any notifications that come in and decide if you need to pull over and use your phone. So I always like to have my phone on, but without the charge going to the phone, I can't do that. I gotta tuck it in the tank bag, and I'm not able to have the phone on at all times, and I definitely can't see any traffic or the directions where I need to turn. So, and I don't like the only the voice commands to turn, because it's sometimes it's a little confusing on the road and I need to see where I'm going. So I did not have a charge to the phone, so that's problem number one. The reason for that, I believe, was the rain. I have a plug-in USB charger, and I think some rain got in there, maybe affected the cable connection somehow, and I lost power on day one of the 26-day trip. So that forced me to use some battery backup power that I fortunately had, and I kept that in my tank bag, but it was a real problem because I could not see the phone on my RAM mount. My lessons learned for that are: have a spare USB connector, and have spare cables. If you need to swap them out for whatever reason, you can do that in a few minutes. So I will definitely do that for next time. Big problem with my Garmin Nav6 unit. During the trip, it seems like the touchscreen just cracked all over the place. Was not user error. I didn't do anything. I didn't even touch it. Maybe with the weather, the age of the unit, the whole touch screen of the Garmin Nav6 unit kind of cracked all over the place. I do not like the unit. The iPhone is so much better. I was hoping initially to use it for GPS, but it doesn't know half the places. I don't know, the smartphones are just so much better now. So the only reason why I use it is for information display. I have my speed, my range, the trip kilometers, the altitude here in Mexico, and that's about it. So I spent a lot of money in that unit, and it's kind of disappointing that it really has underperformed. And now the reliability with the touchscreen going all wacko on me, kind of disappointing. So lessons learned, stay away from that kind of investment, and keep on using your phone. on your bike, and make sure you have the proper charging system on your phone to keep it on at all times as you're riding about using your GPS. One of the additional faults through the trip was my steering lock decided not to function anymore. Not sure why. It could be a result of all the dust that I was absorbing on the bike through the travels. That was kind of upsetting because I like to secure the bike at night, make sure nobody is moving the bike. So without that working, I used a disc lock, and I also have a cable option that I can use to secure the tires. In fact, I like those options better over the steering lock, because steering lock still people can go around in circles on your bike and still move it when you're not around. Disc lock is pretty secure, so long as you don't forget it on, which I've done before. So be sure to use the reminder cable around your throttle to make sure that you remove it. And there's a certain place where you need to put your disc lock on the disc so that it catches the brake caliper quickly, as opposed to doing a full revolution and then reminding you when it's too late that you've got your disc lock still engaged. So just a couple things that I've learned the next time on my voyage, to make sure that I've got that disc lock readily accessible and cables accessible to go around the tires to secure everything in place. Let's talk about heavy rain and motorcycles. Doesn't go well for me, and I wear glasses as well, so I don't know what to do. I'm thinking about laser surgery. I'm slightly nearsighted. I do need to wear glasses when I ride. I've tried anti-rain, anti-fog, whatever on the visor, on my glasses. Nothing really seems to be that effective, so looking forward to your ideas. I've got like 10 different motorcycle helmets, and they're all equally bad in the rain. I wish some company would design something better to use in the rain, but fog is a big problem, leaking visors, visibility goes way down in the rain, and sometimes you just have no choice but to ride through the rain. I'd like to stop and rest every time, but it's not always possible. Okay, let's talk a little bit about tire pressure monitoring systems. I learned a lot during this trip about that. First problem with my pressure monitoring system on the BMW GS, it does have one inside internal Bluetooth in the tires, but it was kind of slow, and I didn't always get an immediate reading of my tire pressures. And secondly, if it does sense a tire pressure reduction, it only flashes an error signal on the instrument panel of the motorcycle, which is kind of small. I don't always notice it, so that's kind of a problem. When I'm going down the road and I feel a wobble in the motorcycle and I'm doing it high speed, highway, whatever, I want immediate feedback that my tire pressure is descending or too high or too low. So I highly recommend a backup system. I use a Bluetooth monitoring system that is connected to my headset. Very important, I get that immediate alarm. It scares me to death. I set my own limits. It's on Bluetooth, so I've got an app on my iPhone. It's fantastic. It's cheap. I think it's under $50 US. Highly recommended for that extra security, and it's double checking, in fact, my current pressure monitoring system on the motorcycle. So I like that backup system, and I used it extensively on this particular voyage, especially when my BMW system was running low and the batteries are wearing out, and the dealership tells me that I have to replace the whole sensor. You can't replace just the battery. So whatever problem there is with one system, at least you have a backup system to keep you safe. So highly recommended. Lessons learned for next trip. Okay, the next concern that again I learned the hard way were the type of tires I have on my motorcycle for this voyage. So backcountry discovery route is mostly gravel roads, not too aggressive, but some gravel was new. Sometimes it's compact, sometimes it's a little sandy, dusty. And I have on the Michelin Aniki 80/20 tires. So what I find with those tires is the rear tire was okay, not overly aggressive, 20% off-road, but the front tire was too slippery, and I would have preferred 50/50 tire off-road on the front. With the Aniki 80/20s, I was sliding all over the place, and I was a little concerned with some of the deep ravines, so I had to go a little slower on the corners as I was skating around the gravel roads. So next time I will put a 50/50 tire on the front and maybe a 80 tire on the back. It's okay to split them up like that, but I felt a little uncomfortable with the 80/20s on the front. Lessons learned. Okay, together with all that heavy rain, you have to be very conscious of what type of clothes you have on and what materials you have on. Your socks, stay away from cotton. Use a polyester synthetic anti-odor blend. Bring some talc powder with you, or baby powder. You want to freshen up all of your underwear, your undergarments, your t-shirts. Keep them all synthetic. You know, I had good intentions to wash everything every night, but it doesn't always work that way, especially when it's so wet and it's hard to dry things. So be careful with the materials that you have in all your clothing. I find jeans work well, and then I use my motorcycle pants on top of that. When I get to the campsite or the hotel, obviously the riding gear comes off first, and I have a pair of jeans on underneath to kind of dry out through the evening. So be careful with cotton, stay away from it, and go with the synthetic stuff, and try it out before you ride. You don't want to stink up the place on the second day, third day, and then kind of feel bad about what you're wearing. So I keep my clothing to an absolute minimum on the road. Not a fashion show, right? So be aware. Okay, next concern. Believe it or not, I had problems with my brake pedal. Rear brake pedal, that is. I guess there's only one. It was too low, and I had it replaced from the original with an aftermarket brake pedal because the original was bent. So my brake pedal was too low, and I went on the voyage without it being adjusted upward. Actually, I don't think it can be adjusted upward. It's kind of permanent. Well, it's in its highest position is what I meant. So probably a mistake on my part to make sure everything is perfectly comfortable and adjusted properly to your boots before you actually depart, because you might find out that you cannot change it as you're moving along en route. So next time I'll get that fixed. In fact, my bike's at the dealer right now. I'm gonna get that replaced with the original brake lever, and should be good to go for next trip. One thing, sorry about the noise, I'm right next to the road here. One thing I didn't think that I would miss during the voyage is a center stand. My bike, 2017 BMW GS Rallye, did not come with a center stand on it. I thought nothing of it until my last voyage. So center stands are great for fixing tires. I was going to say lubricating the chain, but I don't have one. And also for packing your stuff. You got a nice center weighted bike, evenly balanced on the center stand, and highly recommend them for long voyages where you're packing and unpacking the motorcycle quite frequently. So despite the extra few pounds of the unit itself, the center stand itself, I think it's well worth it. One last item to note, lessons learned or observation. On the BMW GS Rallye bike, I only have a 20-liter tank, gas tank. What is that, 5 gallons roughly? You know, that's not that big. I've got a Ducati Enduro 30-liter tank, which can take me 500 kilometers, 550 kilometers, but this BMW can only take me 300 kilometers, so it's quite a bit of difference. And I find myself stopping for gas a lot. There's not much you can do about that unless you buy an adventure model, but what I do have, however, are 2 extra gas cans strapped on the top case, an extra 4 liters, so that's 24 liters total. And I'm told, I'm not sure about this, but I'm told that there is a reserve on the motorcycle of another 4 liters, so perhaps that's 28 liters total. So it should take me, I don't know, 450 kilometers or so, a little bit better. But gas tank is small, a little bit lighter. That's the benefit. The disadvantage is you're stopping frequently, or more frequently. That's probably not a bad thing if there are gas stations that you can stop at, so you can rehydrate rather, and rest up a little bit. So it's just an observation on the BMW GS Rallye motorcycle.